Dean Lucas, it's been a while. We've threatened to do another one of these. You've been on before, I would say, probably, I guess, at the height of your career. I'd say your career was about as loud as your personality. You kind of lived to the beat of your own drum. I think some people didn't understand it, but I certainly got to know you, and I respected it. I loved it. And you didn't have a fairy tale end to a career, but I guess you're a guy that can reflect enough to understand you don't always get fairy tale endings. And then you did a comeback, which I want to talk about as well. Mate, how you doing, dude? It's been ages. You're not quite in the bike scene anymore, although your YouTubes are still getting traction when you do talk about bikes. So it seems like you're torn between the two, new life and old life.
Yeah, thanks for having me, first of all, Needles. It's good to be here. And I do miss the bike industry, to be honest. It's been, 2 years now since I've been involved in it. So there's definitely some parts about it I miss. There's definitely parts about it I don't miss. It's all like, I guess, the highs and lows of racing and putting yourself out there and traveling the world. And it's funny now, I always reminisce about certain things about racing. It's funny how as humans you always kind of go to the good parts, but you forget all the shitty parts. And then I try and kind of think to moments and be like, oh, that was great, but also remember this time when you were stuck in a car park because this happened and you're injured and all this other stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, that's right as well. So you kind of got to take the good with the bad, but doing good now. Literally got as far from mountain biking as I probably could have in this creative industry I've gone into. But yeah, there is parts of the industry I do miss, and I think I'll be back in the bike industry in some capacity at some point in my life. So I don't think it's fully done, but I think I needed a break for a little bit, and then I'll come back in some way.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, I obviously kind of haven't had the break, and sometimes I'm burnt out on it. You know, like everyone's like, do you not want to talk bikes at the bar? And I'm like, that is literally the last thing I probably want to do. And it's just like, I'm spoiled, right? I do it every day. I get to ride kind of when I want. So people might not understand that, but it's like we've spoken about before, when you turn your passion into your job, it's still a great job, but it's a difficult job, and it comes with, man, some extreme highs and lows, that's for sure. So what do you not miss? Like for me, the faff, the pressure, that underlying energy that you kind of like, there's always like a cloud around you, right? Like you're only as good as your last race. There's always another race coming up. You can't always like switch off. I don't know, my mind would just always be racing on how to, well, pun intended, be better at the next race.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat the pressure. Like I liked aspects of the pressure because I knew it made me better myself. But then also if you're like overseas and things aren't working out and that pressure's just like putting you down, and you like, obviously there's a lot of luck involved. Yes, you can create a lot of it yourself, but when it starts raining just before a qualifying run and you've got to qualify and half the field's gone down in the dry, that kind of pressure that gets created is, yeah, it can definitely mess with you, especially if you're coming off an injury and all this stuff and being away from home. And I think it's funny because I miss being away from home, but then also I've actually moved away. I think I just miss being away from Australia more or less, not maybe so much home. But I think, yeah, just being in foreign countries, but being so restricted to what you actually get to do. And I think from the outside, you get so many people that say, oh, you're traveling the world, you're living your dream, you're going to see all these amazing places. And yes, we did get to do that for a long time, but you would know when you go to Fort William, you land at the airport, you drive in the car to the hotel, you go to the track, you go back. And after 10 years of doing that exact same thing, as exciting as it is, like you've seen those mountains, you've experienced those people, you've done those chats. And for me, I look at experience as being one of the kind of keys to life, and new experiences as being one of the keys to life. And if you just keep going through the same motion over and over again, it can get pretty draining and mundane. So I think that was a big part of why I wanted to change it up and do something different, just because I was ready for new experiences. And yeah, that was probably one of the big reasons I wanted to stop, is I just wanted to do new things and try new things and see how they went. And if they went well, they went well. If they didn't, they didn't. So you kind of just got to figure it out as you go. But I think people get stuck doing the same thing just because they're good at it and they don't actually enjoy it anymore, and they don't realize that they could be even better at something else if they actually like let go of what they know and tried something new. So that was probably a big takeaway for me. It's just like, just try something new and see how it fits.
Yeah, that's well said, because I had that very fear. I did quite a lot of things after racing, and like from the outside, it looks like I've been successful, for lack of a better term, but it's been the hardest thing I've ever done. But also I've realized, like, what was I doing trying to race a bike down a hill in all these different countries? Like, it is great, but it was difficult. And now I'm kind of, found a new niche, and I'll probably have to pivot again. But I've done it before. So that's really cool that was the catalyst. But I'm wondering if the lack of like if you pick apart the ego and why you race, it's obviously to be successful and push yourself. But if you lose that carrot of just want to beat everyone's ass, like, do you think that's also harder to go through these difficult times? If you just lose that competitive edge, like if you realize there's more to life, then part of me thinks you lose a bit of that competitive edge. Then what is the point, right? Like, I feel like I had a similar thing at the end. I was like, I don't know, like, if I really care to do as well as I used to do. And then that helped me put up with the tough days, right? And push yourself. Like, do you think you had a bit of that reflection leading to the end of your career?
Yeah, I've mentioned this before, but COVID pretty much ended my career in terms of that was this forced retirement. And I remember how upset and angry I was. I remember going to Portugal for the first round and getting sent home and just being devastated. Like, I've been training so hard. 2019 was my best year. I came off a top 10 in the overall, and I was so driven, and I knew I had speed and I was building into something. And then to go home, and I knew after that first, as soon as we got sent home from Portugal, I'm like, the season's done. Like, it's over. Like, obviously they came back and made what they could at the end of it, but I didn't even go race. But I knew from that point that the whole season was pretty much done, and that COVID was going to turn into something bigger than what I guess we all thought at the time. But when I got sent home and put in that position of like forced retirement, I guess that's when like the ego kind of comes into play, and like, who am I without racing? And I had to really do some, I guess what you call it, soul searching, and really figure out who am I without this sport. And it took me a little bit, but then I kind of just realized that I'm so much more of a person without just doing a sport or doing an activity, and try to focus more on that. And it kind of ruined it for me. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because I feel like I became a happier person in general because I knew I was so much more than what I did. But at the same time, it lost that competitive edge where you are so fixated on winning and beating everyone else, and you would do anything to do that. And I look at someone like Michael Jordan as a perfect example, and you look at his documentary, The Last Dance, he still is so driven and motivated and just wants to win. And he's retired and he's the greatest of all time, and he still has that. And I look at someone like that, and even like Greg to a certain extent, Greg Minnaar, how he's so driven to win, and he was always at, and you do become the best in the world. You do become the GOAT of whatever sport you're doing with that mindset, but you also aren't ever happy with just what you have right now in this moment. I feel like you always want more. There's always not enough. And I felt like after COVID, I was like, I'm pretty happy with life. I've lived a pretty good life. I've had cool experiences. Bike riding's not everything. If it goes out the window tomorrow, I'll be fine, which is a great way to think. But when you're rocking up to a World Cup and you've got 50 or 100 other guys there that are just like win at all cost, you can't compete with them. And that's what I kind of fell off after COVID. Like, I was still trying, but I literally lost the dog in me. Like, I didn't have that win at all cost, and then my career kind of went backwards from that point on. And I can't, like, I wish it did. And I wish I could, like, maybe if I dealt with a mindset coach or did something different. And I wish I didn't kind of waste those last few years of my career because I wasn't fully invested and fully in it. But yeah, COVID kind of wrecked it for me, to be honest. It kind of made me a better person, but a worse racer, which is kind of wild to think.
Yeah, it's crazy to think, like, those lessons you learned, but then they're the ones that are going to hurt your career. Like, if you really look at some of the greats in sports, like, they're absolute psychos. Like, they're psychos because you have to be so single-mindedly focused and block everything else, and you're sacrificing everything. You've got to have a pretty understanding family, or one that blows up over time. Tiger Woods as well. Like, he's a psycho for wanting to improve and what he put his body through. Like, a lot of the greats, like Mike Tyson, the boxer, like, dude, they got a screw loose at times on what they're willing to do, right?
I was gonna say, you got to be selfish, self-obsessed. Like, it's to be an athlete, you have to focus on no one else but yourself. And I think most people probably get to a point in life where they want to have a family, start focusing on them, want to focus more on their, I don't know, just immediate family, stuff like that, friends. They just go, fuck, maybe, like, I don't need to be the center of attention all the time. And it's hard for an athlete to move that mindset, but then keep competing. I found anyway, as a personal experience, but yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky thing to manage, to try and be very humble and also grateful, but very driven and knowing that you're not where you ever want to be and always striving for more. That's a tricky puzzle to figure out.
Yeah, it's such a challenge. And I think there's a lot of our sport kind of, I don't know, maybe because the season's not as long, and I don't know, it's just not like F1 or some of these other sports where like it is so cutthroat. Like I feel like we still get some personalities. I feel like a lot of these riders have balance. Like I'm very impressed, with Loic Bruni, how he handles himself, for how great he is and great he's gonna be. He's still trying to. He's like, you can see him fighting with the balance of like trying to be a good person and trying to be there for the media and still like be ruthlessly competitive when he's in the gate. So we'll see where he lands. Like now being a father, right? And I know, like, dude, you are forced to sacrifice. Like, there's no choice. There's no, like, I'm going to be selfish. It's like, no, dude. There's another little, like, living being that you want to and will have to take care of. Yeah, that's interesting. I think, like, I can relate on some of those paths. Like, I read a book, Ego is the Enemy. I don't know if you ever heard of that book. And it was helpful to understand I can be more than a rider one day. But for sure, it didn't help my career at the time. I was like, okay, why am I trying to be so competitive in the pits? Why am I trying to be competitive with like guys I like on the circuit? I was like, what's the point? So it definitely like took a bit of my competitive edge off, but things come to you at the right time, as you would know, in life and your career.
Sometimes the wrong time as well.
Yeah, well, at the time it feels like the wrong time, but like...
Yeah, you can always pull whatever you want out of any situation, really. You look back at it, and I've been thinking a lot about this recently. Like every hard thing that I've pretty much either intentionally put myself through or accidentally put myself through, I look back as a positive. So it's hard to tell someone that when they're going through something or something's going wrong in a racing career or just life in general, but it's like everything you've come out the other side that's hard is like you never look back and go, oh, I wish that didn't happen. I wish I didn't learn everything I need to learn out of that. I wish I didn't become a better, stronger person because of that. It's like, okay, that was there to show me what I needed to know and get what you needed out of it and go forward with that. But with the as you said, what was the book called? Ego is the Enemy. By Ryan Holiday. He like writes the Daily Stoic, and he's like big into stoicism. He's a big author, but he was super interested in that book at the time. It's interesting when you find these books, right? Because I don't believe ego is a bad thing. I think it gets a bad rep. I think if you...
No, his book is tailored around like you need it to get to the top, but it's the very thing that can derail you.
Yeah.
It's like what I took away from it.
I look at it as like, don't give it the steering wheel, but have it in the car with you kind of thing.
I like that. Don't give it the steering wheel, but let it, potentially give you some directions here and there.
Exactly.
Don't break. Yeah, that'll be the ego.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I think I might break here.
Yeah. Just have him control that. Control the brakes and the throttle, not the steering wheel.
Yeah, dude. But that identity crisis is hectic. So you had it prior to retiring, and then you had it when you retired. Like you've kind of gone through it twice. If you're saying COVID, you kind of went through it and then you like force yourself back into racing and trying to get that mindset, and then you decided to walk away, like on your terms, and then
somewhat.
your terms, and then
get helicoptered away,
and then everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, like to quote Mike Tyson again. Talk me through that, man. That looked like, obviously I was far away and I can only look through a screen. Like it looked horrendous. I mean, I don't really know what word to describe that as.
Yeah, it's definitely, you don't want to finish your last World Cup getting helicoptered out of America, or getting helicoptered out of the race. But yeah, that was probably the scariest moment of my entire life by far. But it's funny, man. Like at the end of that season, like every time it would rain at a World Cup, it just seemed like it was the sketchiest kind of riding you could ever do. And I just probably wasn't up to par with being motivated to push myself, let alone, and I'd just retired as well. So I knew it was kind of all done. So the part of me was like, I don't really care anymore in a way. I was like, it's over. I haven't had good results. I've had injuries this year. Let's just kind of get through it. And I was not even going to do the run where I crashed and had the spinal cord injury. And I was sitting in my seat and I was like, I'm just going to wait till quali. It's going to dry up a little bit. It'll be better. I can't be fucked going down. And then my mechanic was there, and I always feel like I'm throwing him under the bus here because I could do what I want. But he's like, just go do a cruisy one and roll down and just check out the track, so at least you kind of get a feel for it before quali. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So I literally waited just before the end of practice, and yeah, went out, and there was a section at Snowshoe, just this rocky bit, and it kind of had a V, and it was pushing a lot of people into it, and a lot of people hit it. I think Brooke hurt his wrist. One of the Perion brothers hurt his, like, there are a lot of people, it would like kind of put you in a narrow slot and point you straight at a tree. And I came in and my wheel slipped and I just got off balance and it kind of threw me forward, and I just went head first into this tree doing probably 25 30 k's an hour. And I was conscious completely the whole time, and I just remember hitting it and being dazed, and then just being on the ground, like upside down with my legs over my head. And initial instincts is to get up and move, and there was just nothing. It was just neck down, completely paralyzed. And pretty much instantly, the first thought was, you just broke your neck and you're never going to walk again. Like, that was my first thought.
That just comes straight to mind when you're upside down. Dude, that's
I was just stuck. I was just stuck there, and people straight away are like, you okay? And I was like, I can't move. And they're like, can you move your leg? I can't feel anything. And the medics got there, they helped lay me flat on my back. And they're just talking to me like, what can you feel? And I was like, I can't feel any, like literally nothing, neck down. I wasn't actually in that much really any pain because I couldn't feel anything. I felt, and I was completely like conscious and awake with no feeling. And I was laying there for a while, and just kept thinking like, you are so fucked. Like, that was just the voice in my head, is like, you are so fucked. This is like, how could this happen? You had 4 days left. You had one more day of racing, and then Mont Saint Anne, and your career was done, and you've gone and broken your neck, and you're probably going to be in a chair for the rest of your life. And just had that spiraling around my head for, like, at times hard to tell in those kind of moments, but it felt like maybe like 15, 20 minutes could feel like a lifetime. But I've spoken about it before, but when I was laying there, I had 3 emotions that I went through. I went through anger that I've just done this with four days to go, and knew that I could have just chilled and not pushed myself and just sat in that chair and who cares and whatever. So I was so angry at myself that it happened so late in my career. Then I was scared, just the fact that I thought my life had changed. I didn't think I'd be able to travel anymore. I didn't think I'd ever have sex again. I didn't think I'd be able to live where I lived. I'd have to move back and get a carer. Maybe my mum would have, like, all these thoughts are going through my head. And then the last one was just complete and utter peace, like the most at peace I've ever been in my entire life. And this just complete surrender to the situation of going, I can't do literally anything. I can't move my body. I am completely paralyzed on this ground in America, and there is no point in thinking and worrying about anything. And I just remember looking at like the leaves in the trees, and I could feel the sun on my face, and I was just so present in this moment of where I was. And then I would get terrified again, and then I would get scared again, and then I would get angry, and I would just, these 3 emotions would just like rotate through my mind for about 20 minutes, I reckon it was, until one of the nurses, I think I moved my hand, I did something, and it kind of like realized that, oh, maybe I'll be able to like move my body again. But for that 20 minutes, just going like, you're done, and then becoming to terms with it, and then surrendering to it, and then coming back. And it was honestly, fuck, like I try not to think about it that often, like, because I just, when you go back to a moment and just think, I'm obviously super grateful now, and I feel like I've got a second win, but fuck, man, that was a very heavy moment for those 20 minutes, and then even obviously the recovery and everything that came from that. And it's probably the hardest thing I've ever gone through, coming back from that injury, plus then the identity loss of finishing a career and losing the identity of being a racer. Like, you've kind of lost your health, lost the identity. And then me and my girlfriend at the time had just broken up as well. So then I was dealing with that. And I just got home and I was just like, man, like, you know, when like life throws everything at you at once and you got to try and process it. And it was, yeah, honestly, it was super challenging, man. I remember I had days where I'm like, what's the point in this shit? Like, what's the point in doing this? What's the point in recovering? What's the point in trying to get better? What's the point in trying to talk to people? What's the point in going outside? Like, it was just, I was fucking like as low as you can possibly go for like a good few weeks there. And then like anything, you did more recovery, got around my friends, started doing some exercises, you get better, everything always gets better. But yeah, it was definitely a dark time there for a good chunk of time before I kind of started to heal and get my body and mind back in a good place.
Dude, that is heavy just hearing that. Like, you recount that. I can only imagine being the athlete on the ground. Like, I guess it's no surprise that you go through those mixed emotions. And then there's days, like I was thinking, like, what is it like to be in your head? And you've summarized it so well. Like, there's days you just don't want to do it. I think that's pretty natural. And obviously Instagram will just show us the positive days. And I think that's great to give people inspiration. But I feel like it's not normal to feel down sometimes, or it's not normal that you hate your situation or you're angry at what you did, you know, like all those emotions. And I feel like people hearing this, like it normalizes having bad days, which is utterly normal, or going through what could have been a life-changing injury and was still life-changing for you, right? Emotionally.
Yeah.
And it's like, just hearing you talk about it, I'm almost like, you one of the few that probably could deal with it because of a lot of your work and reflection and deep thinking you're doing, you know, to like isolate those thoughts, understand like, okay, I don't want to do this. But day by day you got better. But what was like did you notice your hand moving? Like, what was the timeline of having no feeling to having some feeling, and the doctors like giving you a bit of a prognosis, like, okay, you're injured, but there's a recovery path here. Like, what did you end up doing or understanding there?
So they got me up on a stretcher. They like rolled me onto a stretcher, still didn't really have much feeling. And just before they put me on the stretcher, I remember looking over to my arm, and they're like, she asked, can you move your arm? And I said no. And she's like, oh, you're moving it. And I looked over and I had no feeling. I couldn't feel it, but I was like kind of moving it. And it actually freaked me out more than anything, because I've got a cousin that he dove into his family swimming pool when he was 21, like on his 21st birthday, and he hit the bottom of the pool and broke his neck. And he's a quadriplegic. He has been for like the last maybe 7-8 years, maybe even longer. And he can control a chair with his hand, but you can tell that he doesn't really have feeling in it. Like, he can move it, but it's obviously, and I looked over and it kind of reminded me of that. And it just put me in this like, oh fuck, you're going to be a quadriplegic. That was the first recognition of actually moving actually made it worse than better.
Whoa.
So I saw that and I was just like, oh no, like just don't try and move, just lay on the ground. Like, I don't want to even look at anything. And they put me up on a stretcher and put me on the back of a four-wheeler to start taking me out. And as we're going out, pain started to sink in, which is almost a good thing, because it's like, oh, I can feel something. And then I started tapping my feet. Except it's weird. It's like, imagine obviously when something goes numb and you can feel it, but not really. It's like there, but you don't know what it is. So I was tapping my feet. And I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I could feel that I was trying to do something, but I couldn't really make out what it was. And I asked the person, there was a medic that was helping like support my neck as we were going along. And I said, am I tapping my feet? And they're like, yes. And I was like, fuck, man. Like, that was when I kind of knew that, okay, I'm probably going to be able to walk again. Like, that was the moment that I was like, okay, maybe you didn't break your neck. Maybe you've just done something and your body was in shock and it wasn't reacting, or whatever it may be. And that was the first moment where I kind of had some hope that, okay, maybe we'll come out of the other side. And then as it went on, they put me on the helicopter. They flew me to the hospital, and in that, like, little bits are coming back, but like not heaps. And it probably took a few hours before I could like kind of like do that kind of motion of like moving my hand. And then they were just putting me through MRIs and checking me, and then the pain set in, and then I was just it's wild to want to feel something, and then you feel something and you're just
careful
like the
what
worst.
you wish for, hey?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I wanted to feel something, then I felt something. I was like, "This is absolutely fucked." So it was extremely painful. Everything hurt, like back, neck, shoulder, like just yeah, it was not good. And then just like the flow on effect from that was just like the like we I flew started walking the next day. I like got off the bed and walked to another bed. Just kind of like shuffled along, and they told me that I didn't break anything. I had no fractures. Luckily, I had actually stretched my spinal cord. So when I hit my head, it pulled my neck down, and my spinal cord stretched. And as a safety precaution, it shuts your body off, so you don't try and move and break anything or wreck anything. So that's what happened to me, which was honestly, looking back, great. I didn't break anything or pierce anything, and as badly as it went, it still went pretty well considering. And then yeah, the recovery was, they pretty much said you're allowed to go. You got to put a neck brace on. You got to take a shitload of painkillers, and sent me on my way 2 days later. So it was then the journey of trying to get home and being on so many painkillers. My body, I couldn't feel temperature. It was completely numb still in like both my feet. My hands were numb. I could barely move. My like left side of my body was a lot more numb than my right. Just not anything pleasant. I after like 4 days of leaving the hospital, I hadn't gone to the toilet. Like I couldn't really eat. It's pretty bad. I remember, this is actually kind of a funny story, but we went to a restaurant, I think about 2-3 days after. On the way, the guys were flying out to Mont Saint Anne and I was flying back to Australia, and we stopped at this, I think it was Denny's or something, and the Seagraves were there. And Tony Seagraves, I love the guy. I think he's great, but we'd always kind of give each other shit. It's just who he is. He just loves the banter. And every time I've always seen him, he's always stirred me up. I stir him up. It's just how it is. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty sorry for myself. I'm feeling pretty broken. And we're in the restaurant and I can't eat and nothing's going well. And I'm just kind of like sitting somewhat by myself. Like the team's there and I just went and sat kind of by myself. And Tony comes up to me and he's like, "Are you doing okay? Like, are you all right?" And it fucking broke me, hey, because it was like the guy that's always stirred you up, that's always given you shit, that's always seen the funny side of thing. The first time he's ever shown me compassion for anything. And I left the restaurant, I went to the car and I just erupted and just broke down. I just lost it. I was like, you know, when you're like uncontrollably crying and you don't even know where it's coming from, but you just got to get it out. And I just remember.
Yeah, it's all that pent up emotion you were holding on, right?
Oh,
5 days of it.
Oh, it all came out, and I just sat in this car, and then my mechanic came out, and I'm just like, it's all good, like go away. Anyway, he went away, and eventually I just went back into the restaurant, sat down by myself again. All the team turns and looks at me, and I just said to them, I'm like, "I'm not okay. No one can help me right now. The only thing I want you to do is eat your dinner. Please don't look at me. Please don't ask me if I'm okay. It's all going to be fine. I just need to be alone right now." And they were just all like, "It's okay." And then ate the dinner and we ended up leaving and went on with life. But that moment when Tony came up and asked me how I was going, it was like the realization of, would I ever, because in those moments and for a long time after that accident, like you don't know what's coming back. Like I still couldn't feel my feet, couldn't feel my hands. I didn't have temperature in my body. I couldn't like move properly. And I'm like, yeah, I'm walking. Yeah, I've got something, but I'm like, is it going to all come back? Is part of it going to come back? Is temperature going to come back? Like it's a pretty scary state to be in, because with like a broken arm or whatever else you break, you kind of know there's a process of healing. With a spinal cord injury, they kind of just go, well, fuck, stuff might come back, we don't know. Nerves will reattach, some might. Like even now to this day, like I've got nerve damage in my left arm still, where it's certain movements I just don't have like I used to, and that's just like I'm just probably going to live with that forever. And it's not that bad, but it's not that good either. It's just something I'm always grateful, because obviously to come out of a spinal cord injury with nerve damage in your left arm and grip strength and all that kind of being weakened isn't that bad. But in those weeks after the accident and trying to just figure out like what's going to come back into my life and not knowing, that was the hardest thing, man. Like you wake up one day, oh, I can feel my pinky now. And then you wake up another day, nothing's changed again. Wake up, nothing's changed again. And you're just like that scared feeling of like, is this it? Is this it? Is this me now? Is this my life forever? And I know certain things that it's affected in terms of just like recovering and having the same energy that I used to. It's just I've never quite been the same. I don't think anyone's the same after a spinal cord injury, and I still try and be fit and strong and train and everything, but it's not quite what would be or was, which is just
really physically you
Yeah.
just know, because you know
I just don't
yourself as an athlete, right?
Yeah, I just don't recover like I used to. Like I used to train obviously really hard, and I'd just always be able to recover quite quickly. And then after the spinal cord injury, I just never recovered. Like I'd do a big training day and I'd be wrecked for like 2-3 days, and it just
What
be
are
like,
what is that? Like, is it the nerves? Is it the emotional stuff attached to it? Because I mean, those are all linked, right? Like,
I think it's all
some doctors give you some info on that.
like when your nervous system gets so pushed to a certain way, it just doesn't quite recover like it used to. I think just the nerves don't fully connect properly, and it's just always been a bit more of a struggle. And I think, like I said, I still like strength is not quite like in my left arm, especially my left side of my body seemed to get affected a lot more than my right, and that never quite, like my fingertips in my left hand still have like little pins and needles and stuff like that in them, and just my bicep is kind of a bit, it's got this weird kind of twitchy thing. It's hard to explain where it just doesn't quite engage properly. But man, if you could tell me that's the worst it's going to come out of this after laying on the ground and not thinking you'd get anything back, I'm like, all right, I'll take that. That's a fair call. But yeah, man.
Yeah, but I mean, you can be grateful and like other emotions at the same time, right? Because I like see you happy-go-lucky. Obviously, it's the classic Instagram thing. That's why I wanted to connect with you. Like, that's still a lot you've gone through. As good as a scenario is of how it could have gone, you still are a different person emotionally, physically. Like and like while you were talking about the Tony thing, I think that's just classic Tony. Like that's why we probably get on with him, because he's a straight shooter, but he's a caring father first, right? So that's like the father figure in me. It's like, I wonder if anyone else has come up to this lad and checked how he's doing, because that's a heavy thing you've been through. But I was just thinking, like, we're taught as sportsmen, like, hold it in, don't show weakness. Get on with it. And like, dude, you can't just get on with what you're going through. Like, it's 5 days in, you probably were just like holding on. Imagine how much of that trauma and emotion you're holding on to. Now you're in a foreign country, the team's awesome. Like, I know the team you're speaking of, but like, dude, they're not maybe your family. Like, they're not the people you can get a hug from and just like be yourself maybe in that moment, right?
Yeah. But at that point, like I didn't want anything. Like, no, like, when no one can do anything to really help me right now. Like, this is my own journey I got to go through, and I got to come out the other side. And yeah, it's like even crazy now. Like, I've obviously seen Fabian Burrell obviously had his really bad injury as well. And then I saw Adolf Silva had his really bad injury. And I just look at that, man, and it's just like, I don't know, it hits, I feel like it just like, it makes my stomach sink. Like, obviously people see it and feel bad, but I'm like, I don't just see the crash, I just see the rest of your life now. Yeah. I see the recovery, the pain, the rehab, the everything, and I'm like, fuck, man, like, you're about to get tested in every single way you can imagine.
I still haven't watched the crash, like, and I think he posted it, and I saw a glimpse, and I had to look away. I just
it's so bad.
Have a traumatic, like, feeling of it. And I had a really crazy crash at Darkfest, and now just hearing you and that, I'm thinking, dude, like, you have to be so grateful, like the shit we've gone through and how crazy it can be. And yes, like, he has an amazing attitude, and I can't wait to see what he makes of it, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be the most difficult thing he goes through, right? And you can sort of feel that, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I see even people now, like Ronan Dunn's a perfect example of, I'm either going to win or I'm going to be in an ambulance, or I'm going to win or I'm going to be in a helicopter or whatever, which, like, it sounds great on Instagram or on the broadcast when you say that, man. But I'm like, dude, you've got a long life after racing, and you've got to realize that, be smarter about what you're doing. And like, yes, push yourself, but dude, he's had some big crashes recently, and I'm like, man, you have one of those and your whole career changes and you've got nothing. And it's like, maybe tone it back that slight little bit, be a bit more consistent, build some confidence on that, and be a guy that, like, you've got the speed. We all know you've got the speed. And I don't know if riding on that ragged edge constantly and crashing so bad, like these crash in Tassie, man, he, like, when he hit the rock, I'm like, bro, that literally, That could have been broken back right there. I don't know. Did he break what did he break? His hip or something?
Hip or pelvis or something?
Something
I don't
like that.
Incorrectly quote there, but like when I have my golfing buddy send me that shit, then you know, like, he's like, you used to do this, right? And I was like, fucking tried not to do it like that.
Yeah.
Dude, no, I mean, yes, unlucky crash, boulder in a weird place, but fuck me, he was...
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hurtling. I mean, I have seen him, I would hope the Latwil crash maybe, like, calms him down into this consistent rider, which seems so at Chumpery and stuff. Like, he didn't look like he was going to go away in a helicopter. Yeah, gnarly, dude, and you can be a guy that can speak to that, right? Yeah, fuck. I mean, I guess I still want to understand your recovery and starting this business, but you've almost... No, let's pause the 2025 Dino review of the mountain bike season. Let's pause that. Because I like your look at it, because you're going to give some sick nuances, and I like that you kind of don't have to have a filter anymore, which I think is the best thing ever.
I don't even know I've had a filter before.
Well, me either, I guess. Shit sakes. Okay, well, us together is not a great combo on a podcast, but hey, that's hopefully what people want to hear. But dude, so you go through this recovery, which you've kind of like the most difficult thing you've done. There's no surprise there. And then you are not a downhiller anymore, because you've already announced your retirement, right? So maybe thank goodness you don't have to go back to bikes after that type of injury, you know?
Mm. I think definitely like hats off to Brooke for actually coming back from that injury and then going back into racing and being competitive and being fast, because like that was, I guess, the bonus of retiring before you had a spinal cord injury. You're like, well, I'm out anyway. And I can say I was out on my terms. I wasn't out because of the injury, which was somewhat of a blessing. I felt like I would have been nice to go out differently, but at least I was like, I know this isn't for me. This isn't where I want to be. I'm not competitive like I used to be. I'm not driven like I used to be. I don't want to waste people's time. I don't want to waste my own. Let's leave. Obviously unlucky that then the next race you're on a helicopter and everything's done for you. So yeah, it was, yeah, man, I think it's very dangerous to do anything that you're not fully invested in. Like if your heart's not in something, if you're not really enjoying what you're doing, and that could be in a job, in a relationship, with your friends, whatever it may be. It's like such a broad thing. But when you're in it, you don't want to be in it, get out. Like just get out. If you can ask yourself these like sobering questions to go, why am I doing this? What am I getting out of this? Who am I doing this for? And you can't ever answer for yourself, then you go, well, why am I doing this? Oh, I'm good at it. Oh, it makes me money. Oh, it's like, sweet. Do those even relate to your core values of who you are as a person? And if they don't, then go find something else, man. Because like the life is so short and you only get one go at this. And like I said, experience for me is way more important than money or like ego or being seen as someone. I'm like, if I can go do a cool experience, no matter what that is, I don't really care that much if I get paid money or people see me doing it. It's just like, I want to experience things that I personally enjoy. And if I can do that, sweet. And most of the time, if you do that long enough, you get good enough that someone will probably pay you to do it anyway, whatever that may be. So I always just really try and push people down a path of do what you enjoy. Don't care about all this other shit going on, and just do it until like eventually someone might pay you money to do it. And even if they don't, who cares? Like it can just be a fun passion you do. Just like enjoy it for that, and then make money in other ways that you don't really care if you have to do it that often. It doesn't have to be like passions don't always have to become jobs. Passions can just be passions. And I think so often, sometimes people get good at something and then they're like, well, I'm good at it. I should get paid money for it. And then that can kind of ruin it. Like we talked about before, that can ruin it as well. So I think it's just like really protect what you enjoy and really know what you do, and really know that what you do and you enjoy doesn't always have to make money either. And I think once you can figure that out and kind of like balance your life to doing stuff you enjoy, not for money, then you're probably going to be a happier person.
Yeah, well said. What do you think about all these experiences? Like, do you ever think like there's a point like be happy with where you are, right? Like you can only travel so much and then you realize like home is where I want to be, right? So I've been lucky enough to travel all around the world. And, you know, like no matter where you go, there you are, whatever the saying is. Like, you know, do you think that'll wear off where you're like, shit, I'm just chasing all these new experiences instead of accepting my current living? Like, do you play with that in your head at all? Like,
Yeah,
I
I
agree
do.
with life is about new experiences. I couldn't agree more. But I'm also like, if you see someone just chasing that and they never kind of accept
Mm.
where they are, and some normality.
Yeah. No, trust me. I
Like,
tussle with
how
that.
do you kind of fight that battle?
I tussle with that all the time because, like you said, are you trying to experience new things, or are you just running away from the present
Yeah.
moment, going that, oh, maybe it's something else is shinier and better? And I've kind of come to the point to know that I don't like repetition that much. I think that's probably the biggest thing. That it's, I love my family, I love my friends, I love where I live, I love all this stuff, but as a person that does the same thing over and over again, and like I touched on before, when you go to Fort William 10 years in a row, when you rock up these same tracks and have these same conversations, it just gets to a point where I'm like, there's other things out there. And if the last 5 years blend together and feel like one, I'm like, okay, maybe we should be doing something else that changes that up a little bit. And that's kind of what I felt. But I know what you mean about being happy in the moment. And I'm trying to be, honestly, even where I am now, there's already parts of me that I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to move a little bit more. I think I'm ready to change it up. And I'm actually I'm going to move over to Bali for a little bit next year. So
Are
I'm
you?
like, yeah, I'm looking to buy like an investment villa and move over there for a little bit and get a few things set up with a business there, and then have some stuff back here. So I like to kind of chase where I find people that I feel like resonate and understand me and make me a better person, or make me feel like I'm more of my true self. So when I find those people, I seem to attach to them pretty quickly and then want to be around that. So yeah, I think that's, but I do hear what you're saying as well, because I don't always feel like I want to just be wanting the next thing and not be happy where I am right now. And I think that's a thing that I'm trying to do more of, because it's like when they say like the good old days are literally the present moment, just unappreciated. And I feel like a lot of the time I didn't appreciate the present moment because I was so fixated on what was coming next. And I think as a racer, you're always looking at the result or the next race or the whatever's coming. And man, you can lose track of a lot of time and a lot of good moments because you're so fixated on what's coming and not what you have right now. So I do get that as well. And I am just trying to be happy in the day-to-day life and just simple moments. But there's definitely still an itch that's like, go see the world, go explore, go put yourself in new situations, go do things you've never done before, go suck at things, go try things that are new, like go do all of that and see what comes from it. Because like, you don't know that you might do something that you had no idea it even existed, and then you might do it and actually love it and be really good at it. And I like that when you try something, I'm like, I didn't even know this thing existed a year ago, and now it's like, I have a business that I'm like a creative space where I shoot photography and run podcasts and all that. And like, I think about when I think I recorded my first or second podcast with you in Innsbruck.
Shit, in Innsbruck.
Yeah, with you and Elliot.
I remember that, and Elliot Jackson. Yeah. And you even turned it on. You even turned the record button on.
So you look at something like that. That was like, podcasting wasn't really a thing. We just had a little shitty microphone. Now I own a creative studio where podcasting pretty much makes me most of my money, and I shoot photos on the side. And it's just like, that was not even on. I didn't even have a camera like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. Like, I didn't even know how to shoot photos. Now like today I shot a branded. Are
you shooting those photos? Are you the guy behind the Nest photos?
Yeah.
And that's sick.
So it's like, I didn't even have a camera. I didn't even know about shooting photos. My brother was a photography videographer, and I didn't even care about it for 15 years. And I was like, I'll give it a try. And then I'm like, this is great. I actually enjoyed this. This is fun. And then the podcast, I might get a microphone and sit down with people. And like, both of those things was something wasn't even on my radar. And now it's like my full-time job. So it's like, try new shit and see if it fits. If it doesn't, try something else. Like, what did someone say? They're like, hire slow and fire fast. So like, I think you can relate that to a lot of things. It's like, take your time with something and see if you enjoy it. And if you don't, get rid of it. Do something else. Start again.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, you're in a great position to do that, and you were forced to. What was that? Yeah, when did the idea come for the studio space, the podcast? Yeah, I love it. I mean, obviously just see it on Instagram, but it makes sense. I was like, shit, I would hire that place. Like, I need a studio sometimes, or I need this. I was like, great idea. You use it for yourself and you outsource the rest of the time. It's like, brilliant. So when did that idea come to you? What was it like setting it up? Were you kind of thinking about it during recovery? Like, was it motivating to get better? Like, what was the timing of that all about?
Yeah, it was actually interesting. I got like one of the things that really messed me up from the injury as well was the fact that, you know, you're saying like you don't always want to show up and be on Instagram complaining or saying you're having a shit day, which at the start I did for a little bit, and I got so much sympathy from people, which was absolutely amazing. But people reaching out, I hope you're okay, I hope you're doing well. But when you show up, and I was trying to show up and kind of show the real side of the recovery and kind of be a real human being and say like, hey, I've gone through something hard, this sucks. But after you show up a fair few times and people go, oh, I hope you're okay, you're doing all right, is everything good, oh, we're here for you, blah, 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 you feel like a pretty weak, beat up person that's their whole identity now. It's like, even though you're not trying to be a victim, you do become one in a way. And if you want to get a get out of jail card for being a victim, spinal cord injury is definitely like top shelf of people who feel sorry for you. And I hated it. I hated it so much that I went from like this fit, strong athlete that everyone was like, oh, how's training? How's life? How's traveling? To, are you okay? Are you all right? And it really, it killed me, and it kind of why I kind of shut away from everyone, because I just got sick of being the broken kid. So I definitely rushed my recovery. I was doing rehab stuff, but I wanted so badly to not be the broken boy anymore that I was like, well, what can I do? I'm like, I want to do a podcast. I want to set up a studio to do my podcast. Let's go find a warehouse. Let's start a small business mid spinal cord injury recovery, which is the dumbest shit I will suggest anyone ever does.
What, in hindsight, you probably should have waited a little longer.
Oh man, I'm like, if I could go back in time, I would have gone to any nice tropical place that's warm and just gone to spas and recovery.
So Bali. So you would have been in Bali earlier.
Bali, Mexico, I don't know. No matter if it's warm, if it's near the equator, and you got people that'll touch your body with massage you and recover you, and it's cheap and whatever, that's where I should have been. Eat good food, look after the body, look after the mind, just reset. Mm-hmm. Instead, I thought, let's start a small business in a complete industry you know nothing about. And I was like, yep, sweet, done. So I got a warehouse, and then I started building it out with some friends. And man, the room, I say this story all the time because it was like a real, like looking back now, I'm proud of myself for doing it, but I was gluing foam on the walls here to soundproof it. And it was about 10:30 at night, and I was by myself, and I just remember I had no energy. I think I weighed like 78 kilos. Normally I'm about 87, 88. So dropped like heap of weight, and I'm in here just gluing foam on the walls, pretty much high on the glue, just going, what the fuck are you doing, Dean? Like, why are you doing this to yourself, more or less? And
didn't the foam fall off, or am I cutting to the end of the story yet?
No, yeah, I came back the next day and the foam had all fallen off as well. So that made it even better for me. And I was just like that, like, man, like, what are you doing? Like, you could be doing a million other things and trying to start this business. And like, I'm glad I did it. But like I said, it came out of, I did it for me, but I also did it so I could lose that image of being broken and being this person that needed help. Because then people started asking me like, oh, how's the studio going? How's the business? And I was like, oh my God, yes. Like, ask me about anything.
Okay, fair enough.
That was a big motivator, which looking back is you shouldn't be motivated by other people's sympathy, really. So it was, if I could go back in time, I would still probably do this, but I just prolong the time between when I started it. But it's all hindsight's a beautiful thing.
It makes me think we should probably force ourselves to have a bit more time between things, right? Like I was kind of the same. Finished the career, shit myself, sending proposals, land the deal with Scott. Couldn't be more stoked. Like perfect fit. Even now looking back, but I'm like, fuck, I never really like sat still. And then I opened a bike shop business, speaking of fucking stupidly opening up a small business. So then I got that to sink my teeth in, and I'm doing all these things, and I had a trail building company at the time. It was just probably desperation to fill the void, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I have to do something. I have to get an income. Like my own pressure, society pressure. It's super interesting. I'm like, shit.
Yeah. Because if I could go back in time...
Maybe I need a sabbatical one day, because I never really had it. After school, straight into racing. After racing, straight into these amazing jobs. Like, I don't want to change it. I've kind of designed my perfect life. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm bitching, but I do like the rawness. Because that made me reflect. I was like, shit.
Yeah.
You do need to force yourself to slow down sometimes, right?
And that's kind of like, I've never wanted to just do nothing, but it's just the sometimes where it's just like, just go be with your family, go not have stress. Like when people ask you, oh, what have you been up to? You're like, not much. And it's great. Like stop feeling this pressure.
Dude, how about that busyness thing that we're all forced to do, right? Like it's like a
Hustle
badge of
culture.
honor to hustle culture. That's what it's called these days, eh?
Yeah.
Like it's a badge of honor to be busy.
Yeah.
Even I sometimes about to say it, I'm like, fuck. You don't even need to be busy. Like, are you ticking the boxes to what? Get enough money to live? Like, what are we doing it all for, right? The hustle culture is like beaten into you on Instagram these days.
Yeah, 100%.
Like if you're not working 23 hours a day, you ain't shit. It's like, come on.
Yeah. No, I felt that a lot, and I definitely put that on myself. And I guess as an athlete, you always want something, but like even now at the moment, I've got a guy coming in next year in February to help manage this business, and I'm about to sell my house in Victoria. And I'm going to use a lot of money for that to buy some investment properties in Bali, and then I'm going to have some cash laying around. I'm like, if my businesses are getting run, if I got a villa that's going to get built, that's going to make me some income on the side, I'm like, I'm just going to go see the world. I got friends in, like, why don't I go to South Africa? Why don't I go to Europe? Why don't I go to Brazil? I've got friends all around the world, and I know eventually those connections are going to fizzle out a little bit. So while they're still fresh and people still have a couch I can sleep in, it's like, go enjoy the friends that you only had small interactions with in races. Like, go see where they live, go see what they do, go experience their life a little bit. Like, there's a part of me that knows that I could travel the world quite cheap, in the fact of like, I've got so many friends everywhere that would help show me around and kind of be tour guides. And I'm like, go do that for a bit, man. See how that feels. Like, do it until travel with no return date is something to me that sounds like an absolute dream. Like,
do it then, dude, and do it before you have a kid, because then you ain't doing shit in a good way. Like, it's just like there's a time in your life you can do some of these things, and I think you are preaching like, be careful to miss those windows if you've got that itch.
Yeah, I get that. When COVID was happening in Australia and we kept locking down, I just remember the sense of, I just want to go and do things because you don't know that they might not be there tomorrow. Like, we go into a lockdown, you couldn't even travel, like you couldn't travel interstate. And that feeling of constantly being in this state of, will I be able to do that, is something that I think we lose because you think that something's always going to be there. You think that the girl you like is always going to be there. The country you like is always going to be accessible. You think the job that you have been offered is going to stay on the table. And we get so caught up in thinking that that's always going to be there. And it's just not. Things change, people change, your wants change, everything changes. So I think if you have the opportunity to do something and you really want to do it, just go do it. Like, figure out a way. Book the ticket, plan the date, ask the girl on a date, like whatever it may be. Like, if you know that is something I want to do, take fear out of it and then go do it. And it sounds simple saying that, but you could lose it.
I think it's simple's good. And I kind of meditate on like this, like it feels permanent in the moment. And that's for like hardship as well, and good things. You know, it's like, okay, well, so be it. Yes, it's a tough day. Tomorrow's like, in a week, it probably won't be as tough. Like, nothing's permanent, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like a similar thing. Sick, dude. So you start this business. In hindsight, you rushed it, but it looks cool.
Yeah,
looks cool, and you've enjoyed it, right? Like, you're out of your comfort zone, running a small business. So this thing, it ticks over nicely. Like, obviously, I think you're in a good place for it. Seems like the fitness influencer is popular in your area, so they probably book your studio, which is cool. And I've seen quite a few different podcasts using your studio, and I think Jace was there as well, right? Like, recently.
Yeah.
I feel like he did some Supercross stuff there because he was around. So that's pretty cool.
That was kind of a full circle moment, because I obviously went on his podcast, and that's what motivated me to actually get into the podcast space, was him. Yeah. And then to come record out of my studio, I'm like, this is a weird kind of full circle moment. But yeah, he's like calling you, yo, dude, can I use your studio when I'm in Oz?
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's weird because he had some batteries, I think, melted, and they caught on fire, and his whole thing got burnt down.
Oh, gnarly, yeah.
It was just horrible. But yeah, we hooked him up for a little bit. I think he might be having his stuff, or he's got a new one getting rebuilt or something, and it's all back.
What, in Australia? He's gonna get another.
Yeah. I think he's going to set up a base here, because he's still editors and stuff work out of here. So I think he'll have a base here and then be in America as well. Do both.
Yeah, that is pretty cool, full circle.
But yeah, it's the big thing with why I was trying to stay in downhill, I think longer than I should have, was I think a lot of people, that's all they know how to make money. Like they've only ever raced. Like for me, I did a welding apprenticeship, which I hated, and then left that and got into racing, and that was how I made money. And towards the end of my career, I made good money with Scott. And it was like, am I going to leave behind good money doing something I know to go after something I have no idea what I'm doing? And there was a month I had in the studio where I made a fair bit more money than I'd ever made in a month of racing downhill. And it just was this moment of going, oh shit, like you can actually do something else that you have no experience in. And within a year of doing something that I have no background in terms of, I'd had a little bit of podcasting experience and a little bit of photography experience, but never ran a small business, never ran a podcast studio, never run a photography studio. And within less than a year, I was already making more money through a career where it took me 14 years, 15 years to get to that point anyway, to make that amount of money. And obviously it's more of a passion and you don't do it for the money, but it just kind of shows you that just because you're good at something, you make money, doesn't mean you can't make it somewhere else in a new career or a new passion or a new job or whatever it may be.
Yeah, it just helps with a bit of validation, right? And that's, there's no given in life, so no, there's no guarantee that you're going to make that sort of money. But it really is nice when you see that. I've got a few things that have hit, and I'm like, I think I'm about to make more money, and it's not about that, than when I race. It's just kind of a comparison, like you say, to like give yourself the freedom to go after something else, Yeah.
Yeah, like I did it. It worked.
Yeah, like it did it. I worked. Yeah, it is some validation for the work that but it's not, just writing down in your diary that you want to do X. Like you got to go and do the work. Like let's not gloss over that part. Dude, we have to touch on, you had a wry smile when I asked about the comeback race. So it's like, I feel like you are going to add some comedic relief to this story.
Yeah.
Even though it was probably hard as well, but like it went on Instagram. So let's unpack. So you build a successful studio podcast. You got a little itch for biking, which is understandable. Maybe like, hey, like face your fears and get back on the bike. What was that like? And then you decided to do a race as well.
So I hadn't touched the mountain bike for, I think a bit over a year. I think it was a year. And I just hadn't really wanted to. I hadn't really had a reason to. And people kind of asked me now and again, "I'll come for a ride." And I was like, I don't really feel it yet. And then I realized that it was a year from the accident. So I think like 3 days afterwards, I was just like, stuff it. It's been a year. Fuck it. We'll get back on. I don't know, for whatever reason, I thought it was time to just go for a cruise. And I actually ate a THC like gummy, like edible, and just went for a ride on my e-bike and had an absolutely great time. And I was like, mountain bikes aren't so bad. I'm like, I kind of miss this a little bit. So I went for a ride and got back, and then I was like, I should probably do a race where I can actually finish it on my terms. Like go to a Vic Series race where it's all like, that's where it started, that's where it can end. This is a kind of cool storyline. Like, especially the race was in Mount Beauty, which is where I grew up racing since I was 12 years old. So I'm like, okay, this all ties together nicely. I get to see my family, get to see my friends. I can ride a bike. I like the track, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, rock up. I hit up Common Sale Australia. They're like, yeah, we'll sort you out a bike for the race if you want to do some content and stuff. I'm like, yeah, perfect. I've always wanted to ride a Common Sale just to see what it's like. Everyone says they're a magic carpet, so I was like, I'll give it a try. Gave me a bike, built it up, did some riding on it. It was good fun to actually just get back on a downhill bike and be good at something again. Like
I was going to ask, there is something about that. There is, right? Like it is a nice feeling. Like you can't lie about that.
No, especially when I've been trying to surf up here, and I'm not a bad surfer now, but I'm definitely not like top 20 in the world kind of surfer.
You ain't picking up chicks because of your surfing ability.
No. So when I hop on a bike and you go rip a corner in front of people after not riding for a year and then just being like, I still got it. It's still there. Like you don't just lose it. So I did that for a little bit and then went down to Vic to race, and I went into it the mindset of, how cool would it be if I came back and just won this race? Because I knew some of the guys racing. I'm like, I've always beaten you guys normally. And I was training again, so I was fit, not much bike time. But I'm like, I like the track. I've always done well here. I'm like, I reckon I could probably win this. And I went back into doing it with the competitive nature, not just to go back and enjoy it and finish on like a high. And I got too much in the race mindset again. And I remember in the quali run where I actually crashed, and hurt myself. I actually had a crash prior to that. I had a crash on the first day, which was honestly a bit of a fluke accident. I was a bit nervous. There was a section at the bottom of this track which is quite blown out, and I remember I had this thought before I dropped in, and it reminded me a little bit in America, because I remember like the process of like turning my GoPro on and then going to drop in. And obviously before I had the crash in America, that's what I did. I remember doing it and like setting off, and it just reminded me of like, oh fuck, like this is what happened last time when you had the spinal cord injury. And then I just had a huge crash straight after it. And I think a bit of fear came into my body where I was like riding a bit tighter and maybe just not quite being as loose as I could have been to maybe not have the mistake. So that happened. And then I was feeling pretty beat up, but I was like, I don't know, I'll see if I can ride tomorrow for the race. And I got up and I was like, oh, I'll give it a try. And anyway, I could kind of ride. Like, it was like definitely sore, beat up. My wrist everything was a bit sore, but I was like, I'll give quality a try and see how I go. And I got to the bottom of the track, and I actually went through the part I crashed on, which is the real hard technical bit. And I think I was like, oh, okay, we got through that. You kind of home free. And then I just came up to this awkward step down, and I just pulled awkwardly and got kicked over the front and landed on my shoulder and separated my AC in my shoulder. And I don't know if you can see now, but there's like the bone still sticks up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I thought, oh God, you've come back and now you've just left in an ambulance again. And I was just like, at this point, it's almost comical, because I'm like, you literally left America in a helicopter and now you've left this race in an ambulance. And it didn't suck as much, because I wasn't that hurt. Like my shoulders, it's annoying, but after you've been in a spinal cord injury where you can't move, like everything else seems a bit more mellow. So they gave me a green whistle. I got high as a kite, and then they sent me in an ambulance and sent me down to recover. But it was just kind of frustrating, because it's just like, I always try and get lessons from things. And I guess my lesson from that was, you're coming back to have fun and say goodbye to the sport and the people that you've enjoyed and loved. And as soon as I got back, I went back as Dean, the racer that just wants to win. And it was like, again, it's like, you haven't put the work in, you haven't been training properly, you haven't been riding. Like, you're kidding yourself. And I think when you go into things without that like proper preparation, and you're not just doing it for, I guess, in that point, the right reasons, it will bite you in the ass. And that's what it did. So yeah, there's actually part of me wants to go, and there's a race at Falls Creek, which is near my home, back in Victoria again. And there's part of me that wants to go down and race that and actually just get to the bottom of the track and then go, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm done. I've finished the race. I'm out. It's over. Thank you guys. I'll probably ride e-bikes now and again, and that could be my mountain biking life from now on, but no more probably racing as much. But I don't want to finish in a hospital. Like, I've finished twice in a hospital now, and it's just like, after such a good career, I'd like to get to the bottom of a hill and go, it's over. Thank you guys, kind of, more or less.
So do you think you're going to?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but like force the mindset to be totally different.
I'm having fun.
And
I
just
don't give
fucking cruise. Like, try get lost. Like, why don't you try get lost?
Stop on the hill and cheer, and who cares? Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, maybe you're forced to stop a bit. Yeah, be like,
nah, I'll probably still have like a go, but I will go to have fun. I will have fun in my race run. That's my goal. Is your race run right now is to just enjoy yourself. Do a Kate Edwards, do T-bogs, boost jumps, slap corners. Like, that's what mountain biking was to me back in the day. It gets to this point where I think a lot of people riding, especially at the highest level, you just ride because you have to, or you've got to go faster. But like, if I could go back in time, like, I wish I just rode my bike for fun, more or less. Like, I wish I stopped caring about the time as much and just said, I want to go for a ride because I want to go for a ride, and try and keep the smile on my face. Like, look.
Well, you can now, right? Like, you've got this second chance to do that. Like you said, I'll just e-bike with my mates. I'm like, yeah, that's literally you summing up me.
Yeah.
I did an enduro, but I forced my brother to do it with me. And of course, once the beeps go, like, you obviously push a bit, but I was like, you are here to ride just below the comfort level, just above, but you don't need to win. Like, you need to take the ego out. And I got spanked even on my home trails.
Yeah.
You know, and I always try to take that pressure off, because I'm like, what are we here for? We're here to like support the race scene, you know? And of course the ego, man, he's hard, eh? He creeps in. That bastard. He grabs that wheel. I did a mates race the other day on my track, and everyone's like, oh, it's your track. I'm like, you guys probably ride it more than me. I downplayed the whole thing. And obviously I like had to go within my new limits. Like, I have new limits where I'm like, I don't want to hit the ground. And it was fun. It was cool. But But yeah, I don't like the faff and prep of a race. Hate that. Like having to check my tire pressures are correct, and then I'll be like, my suspension's off, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, you get
That's why
everything.
I don't race. That's why I haven't done basically any races since.
You get wrapped into it pretty easily.
Although I stupidly pitched Madeira with Brendan. But yeah, I had to just, I got humbled, you know. It's like 6 minutes enduro stage, my little arms, you know, I'm like, that's dangerous now. Like, you're just going to have to accept getting absolutely smoked on the long stages. That's just part of the game now.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm here for the content. It's actually funnier if I get smoked.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Yeah, it's a tough one, dude. But it sounds like if you're able to, like, force your attitude to have fun, like, I think you can do it.
100%. So yeah, I just want to go catch up with my friends, have a fun time on my bike, and that's it. Probably get out the old... I think I've got one of the old Intense Worlds bikes that I raced back in 2018, so I'll probably ride that.
Oh, that's a cool idea. Yeah, take some of the old bikes out the garage. That's a cool idea for sure. So
I think that's probably what I do, because I don't have any Scots built up. I've only got Intenses because I started just doing frames with Scott. So yeah, I think that's the play.
And if you think about when we were young, like, that was the best part of going to races. I don't know, for me as a teenager, was the practice and riding with your like buddies, riding buddies.
Yeah.
And the race was just a byproduct. Like,
yeah,
you know, you were just like, how many practice runs can we do?
Yeah. How much time on the bike can you do?
And then you get to World Cup, like, dude, don't do, I don't know about 8 runs. That's going to tie you out for tomorrow. We're just doing 7.
Well, that killed it for me, man. Especially you're at a World Cup now and you're at a stump section and there's 27 people with stopwatches and you can't even get off the track because there's so many people there. I hated that so much. I'd go to like a Crankworks and there's just no one. It's just you and the guys riding. And I'm like, this is why I started mountain biking. It's because you want to just ride with your buddies and like figure it out yourself. Now everything is just so put down to, you've got literally 10 people in a section and they find the fastest line and then, okay, well, that's the fastest line. Everyone knows because everyone's there. And then everyone does that line. It gets broken, blown out. All right, okay, next line now. Or because the tracks are getting so beat up and bedded in now that it's just like every track's a bobsled pretty much. And you just go in the one thing. And yeah, that was another thing about World Cup racing with the tracks changing and becoming so one-lined and so fast and becoming more dangerous. It's just like, I don't think that's the direction it should go. And being at a World Cup and seeing how fast stuff would get, like you go to Leo Gang, for example, and that thing is just that they used to say it was a bike park track, but it had a lot of stuff that was actually quite technical. And now you go to it and it's like, now it's just literally 2 lines the whole way down and they're so chopped and bedded in that it's just, yeah.
Not for me either, man. Yeah, no, you can rant. Let's start the 2025 season review by Dean Lucas, and you can rant all you want. Conor Ferrin said the same thing. Like, that burnt him out and the one line. And I mean, you're just testing a little different skill. Like, you're testing the balls of a rider at some point. Yeah. You're not even testing. It's a skill. I mean, it is a skill. It's not. I don't like where it's gone either, for sure. What about the lack of practice? Imagine having to go and be up to speed when the 3.5 runs or whatever it is before you're like doing a timed run, and the next day you got to do this Q1, Q2. Yeah, I don't miss that, man. I don't miss that one bit. Good time. It was a good time for us to get out, for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely how the structuring has come around. It just, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of killed it. And talking to people that are still at the races said it's kind of killed it as well. The atmosphere is not quite the same, and how the weekend plays out. They said it just feels a bit dead. Like, I feel like the atmosphere around World Cup racing is not the same. And I'm just like, kind of felt like I got out like almost the perfect time, more or less.
Yeah, you were just at the end. Did you do the semi-final? Was that?
Yeah, I did the semis. I hated it. So much.
So that was you had to do 2 and they took 30 to the finals.
Same day. Yeah, same day.
Okay, so you had like a year of that to see what 23, it was like. Yeah,
23 I think was the change, and they did semi-finals and finals on the same day. Oh, they did snow. They did. Yeah. So they did qualifying and then semis and then finals, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Right? I mean, obviously, I've said it ad nauseum here. Like, I do like the LCQ over having to do it twice.
Yeah.
I'm not going to quote what I would rather see, but like, how did you enjoy? Because you still do some pods on the mountain bike scene. That was a cool one. We talked a bit about the salaries. People love hearing what people make. We should definitely spitball what people are making now. They love hearing that.
Yeah.
What did you think of it, dude? Like, what a season, man. Like the storylines of the young buck Jackson against the veteran of Loic. Like, dude, you couldn't have written a better script if you tried to.
This is one thing I wanted to touch on because I saw a lot of controversy, and I almost made a video around this because of what happened at the very end of the World Cups with...
All right. Well, we'll clip it here. Let's make it here and we can collab on it.
Yeah, let's go. So anyone saying that it was not fair what Loic did by going up and pretending like he was going to ride, this is why you will never be a world champion. This is why you will never be a good racer, because if you want to be the best in the world at something, you realize that that is the mindset that you will need around being the best rider in the world. It's you will do anything to try and get an advantage over your competition. And that's not in a way of like being deceptive or like malice or anything like that. But going up, if like all you have is playing mind games with either your riding or your gaps or your line choice or whatever it is, like you'll get in someone else's head. Or if you're just confident, he didn't say or do anything. He just went to the top of the hill. And the thing was, if Jackson crashed in the first corner or got a flat tire, Loic, I guarantee, would get down the hill on that bike. He would find some strength 100%. To get down the hill on that bike.
Loic had every intention to ride in a safe environment for himself. I couldn't agree more. There was no malicious intent. He did everything within the rules of the race. You're allowed to do everything. He didn't break any rules.
No. So me and Luke, we've had some disagreements on things, but I think he is one of the best things in our sport for like how he holds himself, how he carries himself, how he helps people coming up. Like he's an amazing athlete and person, and I don't think he's ever got any ill intent towards anyone else on that race field. I think he's probably one of the most genuine people we have. So for all these people to come at him saying it wasn't fair that he got up and put this pressure on Jackson that was unneeded, I'm like, man, you race in World Cups. World Cups come with pressure. No matter where that comes from is completely up to the person in that start gate. So I'm like, if he went up and like I said, if Jackson got a flat or crashed, sweet, fair game. But as soon as he got down and he won, he's like, well, I'm not going to be able to do that. So then what's the point? Which is fair enough as well.
Yeah, and to add to that, Loic put himself in that position to afford himself that decision. He earned the right to go last. He came out swinging in Q1. Beat them by 3 seconds. So like he gave himself an advantage by earning it. Like he was super Bruni of note. He gets unlucky. He has every intention to go and ride. He's hoping that the leg just miraculously works, but it just wouldn't. And then he's at the top and it's like, okay, well, yeah, I am hoping that Jackson has a mistake. That's racing. Like it's a title hunt. Like every other sport would do the same. Like I couldn't agree more. It was keyboard warriors. It wasn't fair. There was no malicious intent. To say that was unfair to Jackson and Jackson could have got hurt. No, man. We all sign up to go racing. Like, what are you talking about? Jackson could have got hurt. What are you talking about? We can all get hurt. We just spoke about you getting hurt.
Jackson could have got hurt trying to beat you. You're a big meanie. That's not fair. Stop it. It's
for trying to win the title.
Yeah,
it wasn't fair, man. I think Loic went on his Red Bull podcast as well, and he kind of spoke to that. It's not fair. I hope he didn't get any personal messages about that. And then people thought he missed the podium on purpose. Like, what are you talking about? The poor guy couldn't get down the hill in time and then had to go to the hospital. They do that podium so quickly after race. If anything, they should have tried to delay the podium. But I guess it's for TV. I think the TV window probably didn't help. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I haven't. I guess Sven and I, or whoever was on the pod, would have spoken about that. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, that was the end of it. Dude, what a season, dude. Yeah. What a season, man. And unlucky. Like, that's racing. He had like a small, stupid crash from what he says in the morning and then smashes his leg and gives himself a hematoma. Made for good TV though, dude. Seeing no one in the gate, I was like, he's missed his start. There's no ways this guy's missed his start.
Yeah, you can't beat Loic. I think he's just got to beat himself. That's him versus him. But you look at that, like, man, even coming out, like going to the Mont Saint Anne where Jackson smoked everyone last year, and he's obviously the favorite, and then Loic comes out and puts 2-3 seconds to him in qualifying. I'm like, you can't count the dude out. Like you can't count him out. I saw that and I was like, yeah, we still got a bike race on our hands. Like there's this mindset that like I felt certain times where you channel the fact that like you are the man and you get put in these pressure cooker situations where he obviously just thrives. Like I remember, I think it was Wyndham 22 where it was like between, I think, who was it? It was like Loris could have won and Deprella, I think, and they both just blew up on finals day, and then Loic just came and qualified first and then won the race.
It must have been snowshoe.
Oh, snowshoe, sorry.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you were like...
Yeah. But I look at that,
yeah,
and just that shit where it's like, man, these two guys are so far out in front and they both just crumbled. And they're both great riders, but they both just crumbled, and then he just comes and goes, I'm just going to win the championship. I'm going to go 1-1. Done. And I just looked at that at Montseny, I'm like, he's about to do the same thing again to Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what the greats do, right? Like they thrive and they almost do better the bigger the pressure stage, and us normal folks, sometimes you crumble a bit. It's like their genetic makeup, I think, is part of it. The conditioning on how comfortable they are being in that position so often, you know? Like now that you've won the series 4 times, you can then go back in the memory bank. Okay, what did I do when I was under pressure? Cool, I performed. Now he's won the elite world title. How many world champs has he got? I got it in my notes, like a lot now, right? So every time there's a world championship, he goes back and he's got those memory banks. Us guys that have failed a little bit, you're like, I'm going to go in the, not that memory. Okay, not that one. Oh, there's the one I did well. Dude, I still had a memory of my first World Cup as a junior. I qualified 78th. They took 80. And then I worked my way all the way to 50th. I took like 10 seconds off my time. And I used to still use that feeling and memory in my pro career. I was like, hey, man, just going to take 10 seconds off my time. I've done it before. And I would use that. So it's super interesting. Like
there's always more there.
There's always more. There always is. Yeah, I love the season, dude. I mean, dude, he won the 4 on the trot, almost the only person to win 5. Jackson looked unstoppable. And Loic was like, I'm done with this now. And then Adori comes out swinging. Jackson did great at that race. Like there's tracks that didn't suit Jackson. He's really good at riding around his weakness. That's for sure.
Yeah, I watched him ride it.
Really good at riding around like Lake Placid as well. That bottom half didn't suit him.
Yeah. He doesn't look like he's trying ever. Like to go as fast as he does, but just never, like he just bounces off stuff. Like the rock garden through Montseny, and I was like, how did you just bounce through everything at the bottom there? Where you, like,
there was a bit of luck involved as well. Like, he said he rode it faster than ever, dude. That was chaos.
I was like, no, what? But like, he's so light that he doesn't get stuck in all those holes where I think a lot of other riders would get kicked, where he just kind of like literally bounces through it. But I watched that and I was like, bro, like I look at that and honestly, like Montseny was always a track I knew I could do well, even to a point at Worlds in 2019 where I was like, I could win this race. Like I had that kind of confidence going in. And then I watched Jackson and that and I'm like, that's yours, bro. You have that win. I'm good. Like you see some riders where they make you really just go like, I couldn't do that. Like you are on another level completely to where I was or probably would ever be.
Oh, for sure. No, the bike handling skill. I mean, Loic says it. I'm like, he just doesn't give himself enough credit.
Yeah.
Like, yes, but Loic's mental experience and the way his racecraft is and the way he sets his bike up is a skill, is a talent in itself, you know? Like raw riding ability and talent. Yeah, I guess. Yes, I understand what he's saying. Like, you know, Jackson's got me beat. But I'm like, dude, there's a stopwatch. Your ability to get from A to B is incredible.
Yeah. I think there was a time, I don't know if you guys would talk, it was you doing this, or maybe it was Jackson and someone else, but it was talking about, I think it was when Loic won the World Championships. I think Amaury got second and Loris got third in France at Ligier. And I always found it so interesting because I look at those 3 riders and I think Loris is probably the best rider out of the 3 of them in terms of bike skill, bike control, bike handling. I think Amaury is the fastest out of just all out speed, if you had to say who's the quickest out of the 3. And then I think Loic's the best racer. So it's like you've got the best bike skill, the fastest, and then you've got the best racer. And it was just funny how all three are on the podium, and I'm like, the best racer is always going to be win the race more or less, because he might be able to just handle every factor that comes into that race better than Marie and Loris. Even though Loris might have better bike skill, might be able to control the bike a little bit better, Marie's just all out speed. Loic just seems to figure out the bike, the track, the timing, the pressure, every single factor that becomes into racing, and he will just supercomputer. I should call him supercomputer instead of super Bruni, just supercomputer Bruni. But like, just figures it all out, and he's just like, when it comes to that moment, he can just deliver, and he just has always done it. And because you always talk about, like, I always think about, like, who's the fastest outright rider? If you could go every generation and say for all that speed, like, I think you'd probably have Gwyn in there, Marie, Sam, Danny maybe in his best time, like maybe those four, like for all that speed. And it's just like, but you wouldn't probably say for all that speed Loic, even though he's won so many titles. But
I know, and you didn't mention Greg either.
And Greg as well. Yeah, both of them.
But he's like 121 World Cups.
He's the GOAT. So but for all that, he's for all that speed. But if you said who's faster on all that speed, Sam and Greg, Sam every day.
Sure. He would say it as well. But it's like so interesting how their racecraft, they're able to lift themselves like 110% in the sections that they're comfortable. So they would have great splits. And then those sections where they're weak, Greg spoke about it. Then he's going to be, he just knows he can't win the race there. He doesn't want to lose it. It's super interesting. Yeah, racecraft can stump all out speed. Yeah.
Well, I used to ride with like David McMillan, Connor Fearon, Jack Moyer, like guys like that. And they're all way better bike riders than me. But I beat them a lot of times at races because I've learned how to become a better racer. But I remember it was really funny. One time I was racing, it was a national champs in Adelaide. And the week prior, I went and flew up to Adelaide, and I was staying with Connor Fear and me and my brother. We went out and filmed at one of his local tracks. I literally told my brother to stop filming me because of how bad I looked compared to how fast Connor was going. And then the weekend after, we had this world champion, national champs race in Adelaide, which was also his home track. And to go into that knowing that how much faster this guy looked at this practice track a week earlier, I was like, man, this is going to be a tough order. Anyway, I qualified fastest, 0.2 of a second faster than Connor. He ended up beating me by like half a second or something. But I was so interested to be like, you are a B- rider, but you can become an A+ racer if you can work out all these little factors that go into it, and then get your mind in that place where when those beeps start, I am so fixated and so locked into what I'm doing that nothing else matters. And that's when you become a good racer. And I think a lot of people, like Dave McMillan, for example, I think he's a better bike rider than pretty much like when we used to travel with me, Jack Moyer, Luke Allison, Joe Havoda, like all these guys. Like I would say Dave's probably one of the best bike riders I know, full stop. But he just wasn't a racer. That wasn't him. And it's just interesting that you can see people that have such good bike skill and know how to control and ride a bike fast, but when it comes to racing, it doesn't translate over. So yeah, it's interesting. I always think about that. I'm like, just because you're fast doesn't mean you're going to win races.
What do you think it is? Like, do you think it's braking points, carrying speed? Obviously, is the mental side to get the most out of your run. Like, yeah, but there's technique as well, dude. You can't just like, there's a technique that maybe looks boring but translates to speed on a course. On top of the mental side, I understand what you're saying. But I feel like it's really methodical with your braking points. And, there's a lot of technique that good racers have. You can't be a shit rider with a strong mind and beat the clock. That doesn't work either.
No, I think
Does that make sense?
I'm still saying, like, you're not a bad rider. I think that's why I always liked riding with training or coaching athletes that were already here and just that jump to there. Like, I think you get a good athlete who's like a B, just say B grade, or maybe like a B+. Like, they're not quite an A grade racer. And it's just figuring out that gap. A lot of it comes from belief, man. Like, that's the thing that I think.
I heard you speaking about this, the belief thing.
When Loic like you said before, like Loic taps into the belief that he can do it because he has done it. And when it comes to athletes, as soon as you see someone get a good result, like look, Henry Kiefer, for example, this year. Who's Henry Kiefer? Gets third at Leogang, and then he's on the podium every second day of the week. And it's just like, why did it just take that one result to then get the belief that he could do it. And then as soon as he had the belief, he just kept on doing it. And it's like, you see it all the time, man. You see it with Rat Boy, you saw it with Sam back in the day. It's like the floodgates open after that good result because they know they can do it now. And that belief is such, like, it's hard to put it into like a percentage of how much it improves you, but it does.
Yeah, but there's
like
belief and knowing. I think knowing is maybe a word I would want to use, right? Like there's belief, like, okay, I can do it. But like, you know, you can do, like you said, I know I can do well at Mount St. Anne. Like you've proved it before. There's just something about it, you know?
Yeah, you rock up. You're different. You're looser. You're confident. You're like, oh, I've done this before. I'll do it again.
And I think that's why the greats perform consistently better over time. And that's why you see some other guys like this. I spoke to my psychologist at the time. And he's like, dude, your potential's right there, if not higher on some tracks. But you're here. And they're like there because they believe it. They just kind of knocking closer to their potential. You're not any less on potential. We've just got to figure out how to do it more consistently. Yeah. And like you say, you can train the belief, train your processes, and trust that.
Like every time I did really well at a World Cup, I can win this race. Like I generally believe that I could win this race, and you can't fake that. You can't go to a World Cup and go, I'm gonna win, and it's not even before you look at the results. It's just how you feel it in yourself. Like you feel how you're riding, you know how the bike feels, and you're like, oh, I can win this. And I've only felt that a handful of times. Like I raced a lot of World Cups. I only felt it maybe 5 times where I'm like, I could probably win this World Cup if I had my perfect run and nailed everything. And that way of thinking is like, it can't be faked. It can't really, and like as much as you want to go in being like, I'm going to win, it's just like are you? do you think that, or do you just want to get a top 10 or a top 15? No,
totally. Yeah, like confidence, I've heard this saying, comes from demonstrated practice. You've got to show yourself you can do it. And that's like you say, where the belief and the knowing comes. And it takes time. Like Henry Kiefer was doing all the right things, doing the process, probably seeing the split times. He's got Fabian Burrell in his corner. You can do this, you can do this, and then you do have to just see it happen.
Let's talk about some money. What do you reckon he's making? I reckon sweet fuck all.
Oh, sweet fanny nothing. Henry Kiefer.
Yeah.
Well, coming in, what was his top result coming in?
I'm not too sure. But I reckon I got to...
What are those initial salaries? They're still like 40 to 60 grand, the initial salaries?
What, euros or...
Yeah, what do you want to do, USD or euros?
I always worked in euros, so... Maybe.
Okay, we can. So when I was on Trek and I hadn't had a podium yet, I got 40 USD. I'll just round it up, whatever. So what's that with inflation? Like, I don't know, starting salaries have gone a little bit more, but now, dude, when you're not making the final, oh my goodness. You got to, like...
You get 3 Red Bulls and a pat on the back.
You take your race bike home and a spare set of tires.
Yeah, perfect.
If you make one
and you'll
final.
be happy.
No, but like, yeah, I mean, he like, I don't know the contract cycle, but a rider like that, multiple podiums now, dude, you've in the big 6 figures, right? That's what you would hope if there's money to go around, but it depends when he signed.
You would think that, but when I was on Da Vinci, I got a podium for them in 2015, got a 3rd, got 12th in the overall.
Oh yeah, and then you got
breakout
fuck
year.
all the next year.
Well, I had to pay 20 grand to leave.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
But they offered me like nothing. They offered me.
Well, it depends. I
think I got offered 25,000 Canadian. Which is like what? That's like 15,000 US. Like Canadian's like the same as American. I mean, Canadian's the same as Australian.
Yeah.
So they offered me half of what other teams had offered me after having like a breakout year, and I declined it.
Yeah, there's certainly like the contract cycle, like supply and demand creates a lot of these stories, right? Yeah. And if you get on also a good contract cycle and you're one of the few that can get a podium or get a win, and five teams are looking to expand, dude, you're in the money. Then the opposite, there's 10 good riders available and 3 teams, like not the other way around.
The team, I'm not as like switched on to the industry, and I know the bike industry is struggling a little bit, but like with terms of World Cup racing, it seems like everything's just kind of like shit in the bed. Like YT went under, Jack lost his ride, Kobe lost his ride, like all that kind of stuff happened. It seems like the industry's still kind of struggling in terms of bike sales or money.
I think that's fair. Yeah, 100%. I can definitely see that. And the cost of racing is going up, so that's a struggle. So the excitement of adding a race in Korea is incredible, right? But the costs of the team goes up, same as going to Whistler and being in America for longer for a European team. Like you could add, I'm just going to take a number, you could add 50 to 100 and a bit grand to a team budget that you need more just from one year to the other with a schedule change. And then if your pit space and those sort of costs go up, and then everyone's fighting for the same amount of money. It's a struggle. Like I see it, like there's like head sponsors of Warner Brothers, the race series. A lot of them are industry, and they're also sponsoring the teams and the riders. So it's the same pocket of money, but where it depends where you distribute it. So yeah, dude, I mean, I am very involved there. Not like I don't see the team budget and stuff, but yeah, it's really is tough.
Yeah, a lot missing the whole team rumors, talking to people behind car parks, all that, like not shady, but that like what am I
trying to get a ride?
Trying to get a ride. I was pretty good. I always felt like when I had shit years, I was in contract, and then when I had good years, it was a transitioning period. So it's nice when a few teams come up to you and you're like, oh, okay, I've got some bounce. I can bounce this around a little bit, or I feel a bit safe. So, but what did you make? What did you make after when you started getting podiums with Giant?
Giant, I was on 60 plus a 30 bonus, which I capped, plus a Rockstar deal. So that was probably at the height of my career.
What was Rockstar paying?
10 or 15.
Yeah.
And that's just bonus money, right?
Oh, that wasn't just like a
salary.
it's
like, no, it was a salary, but I mean, like, you're wearing a helmet anyway, and you're wearing a hat anyway.
Yeah.
That's just like, what a bonus. They were like, hey, we want to offer you a contract. I'm like, wait, where do I sign? Like,
Perfect.
That was great. And it was through Fox as well. Like, Danny had it, I had it, and we had this Fox deal.
Yeah.
So that was on, like, at the time, like, for me, it was great. Very thankful. Had got a podium, but I managed to, like, cap my bonuses, so made pretty good money. I would think a rider that had a podium or two, are they asking for six figures? I don't know. They used to before the new format.
Yeah, you'd hope so. I think you would. It's funny you mentioned the helmet and the hat. You're wearing it anyway. When I signed with Scott, and then they had the Bluegrass deal with the helmets, but Bluegrass offered me a separate deal for like the helmet and the pads and everything. Anyway, Scott didn't want me to have the protection. Like, no, you got to wear full Scott protection. So I did a bit of a shady thing where I went to Bluegrass and I was like, yeah, I'll wear like all your protection, because I'm like, you don't see it. It's undercover. Like, I'm already, the helmet's sponsored by Scott anyway, so you're already a part of it. And I signed this deal with them with a bit more money, running full Bluegrass protection everywhere. And I'd always just wear pants and long sleeves, so I didn't see it, so it didn't matter. And then I was at a race and it was really hot, and I wore shorts, and you could see the bluegrass thing. No, I think I had Scott knee pads on, actually. I didn't even have the Bluegrass things on. And I think whoever it was, they messaged me and they're like, oh, hey Dean, like you're not supposed to have those knee pads on. I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't have my other ones there, and I just had these. And I'm like, all right, pants are going back on and never coming off again, which they stayed on. But yeah, I thought that was a bit of a shady one, but I was like, none the wiser.
Yeah, Danny and I had Fox deals back there on Giant. So it was cool back then. Redding wanted to build up the Fox brand because after he left Troy Lee, and it was really cool. He was like super into building a team, and I agree with it, like the brand. So he was like, all right, guys, I'm going to pay you. I'm like, but I'm wearing Fox anyway for Giant. He's like, no, but you have to do appearances with me, and it's like a personal thing. So we're like, hell yeah. So we got a little like side Fox deal, and we were obviously paid by Giant, and Fox was like a team sponsor. But then in year 2 or 3 came, and then Giant caught wind of it, and they wanted to veto. And we were like, what are you talking about? So they signed the Fox deal, but we never got a pay increase. Yeah. We're like, hang on, guys. Come on. Yeah. But they obviously caught wind of it, and they were like, no, we're not having none of this.
Yeah, I really liked that when I was riding, even though the team was running Bluegrass, but then getting sponsored by them, because then the team could just switch the next year and get offered more. And I'm like, now I've got to run a shitty, or like, I really liked Bluegrass. I liked all the stuff they made. But if you got a personal sponsor with them, and that was the thing when I even signed with Scott, part of my contract was if another brand came and offered me like a clothing brand, whether it's Fox or whatever else it would be, which is actually what happened when Darko came and they said, we want to sponsor you, we want you to just run Darko. And part of my contract with Scott was if another brand came, I could take their offer or they had to match it. So then Darko came and they offered me to ride for them. And then Scott said, oh no, we'll match it. Which I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting more money, but at least you have that option. Like if someone wants to cover you in their gear and pay you for it, then I'm like, I feel like that should be an option you should be able to do. And if you're with a team that's not willing to at least match it, then I'm like, well, it should kind of go. So I really like when brands will come and offer you money separate to whatever the team deal would be, because it kind of gives you a bit more of like leeway in making more money and actually like branding yourself differently.
Yeah, but I mean, it comes down to how you negotiate the contract, right? Like for people listening, it's if a team gives you that category, let's call it, so the clothing category, then they can't sell you to get more money for the team. So Syndicate worked like that. They had enough money built into the team that they let their riders, so they could also offer their riders a little less. Say, well, here's your category, go find it yourself.
Yeah.
So it's all about like the numbers and cents. Like if they say, cool, you're getting X amount of money, but we have the helmet category, we have the clothing category, we have the protection cam. All you're allowed is shoes and goggles, and maybe pedals if you're lucky, right? But then you're hoping for a higher salary. So it depends like what works for the teams. But for sure, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's still challenging times for the mountain bike industry, like really challenging. And everyone wants to go racing, and it costs more to go racing.
Yeah. The funny thing when you said that the shoes and sponsors are the only things that you kind of get. Like when I was with Intense, they let us get our own goggle sponsor, and lo and behold, I sent a thing out to Scott Goggles and they said, yeah, we would love to give you our goggles. And then I started doing some content for them and some other stuff. And then obviously went out in Croatia and got a third straight off the bat. And I think Julian was like, oh, okay, this guy seems easy to deal with. He puts a lot of content out. He seems like a nice enough guy. So to anyone listening, like my biggest payday was from Scott, and they put me on for years and paid me quite well. And it was a great team, and it all stemmed off getting some free goggles with a bonus attached that was like nothing. But I think if you have to realize that you build these connections throughout the industry, and that can grow into something that's really big. So I look back and I remember they sent me these goggles and I went and filmed a video with my brother and tagged them and kind of like I gave back more than what I got. And I think when a sponsor sees that, they go, okay, if this guy is putting out all this content over sending him 10 goggles, what's he going to do if we actually start paying him properly and put him on our bike? So it's just, you never know what's going to come from something. So put effort and energy into everything you do.
Yeah, and it's just a two-way street. You know, you've got to really remember sponsorship is a two-way street. It is a transaction at the end of the day, both ways.
100%, yeah.
Absolutely. Dean, so as we wind down, you've said the future looks like we'll see you a bit in Bali. You're going to still do some mountain bike content. You said you might dip back into the mountain bike industry. Who knows? What does the future look? What does a crystal ball look 5-10 years from now?
Oh, I don't know. I don't plan that far ahead, but I think you'll see me at a World Cup in the future. For sure. I'm going to rock up probably unannounced and just kind of maybe just bum around the pits, maybe talk to people with microphones, maybe stir up some stuff, who knows. But I'd like to come back and see everyone, maybe, I don't know, in Korea or something, go somewhere new. I'm thinking about going to maybe Whistler next year as well. I don't know if that ties in. I was talking to Newly Docs about going to get a place with him and going to say hey to everyone. So I'd like to somewhat be involved. I'm actually been doing a little bit of work we got a guy in Australia called MTB Giveaways where he gives out mountain bikes. He does like a kind of a ticket buying system, and he has a subscription where people join and they get free bikes if he like raffles them every like couple weeks. So I've been doing work for him, and I'm talking about maybe doing some coaching stuff involved around like giving out like a coaching session for people that win a bike or something, helping him set it up, and then maybe tie into that because he's putting a lot of money back into Ride High Country, which has a young kid, Zach Bradley, that you probably know that has been racing in juniors that I helped coach. So definitely like giving back in that way. So kind of just like to see everyone, like I moved up from where I grew up originally, so I haven't really been around like Ollie Davis or Zach Bradley or those young kids that I helped. So it'd be nice to see those guys at a race. And like you saw, Ollie's doing amazing now, and he's on with Trek and qualified second at the first round. I saw that and I was like, when the torch really feels like it's been passed on, and I was like, always proud seeing him do so well, and especially Zach. They know that I played a small role in their career, but definitely a role that's definitely helped elevate them to where they are. So I would also like to get involved more in the coaching, just personally with mindset around racing. So it's been one of those things that I know how much effort and energy goes into it, and I've never wanted to half-ass it. So I've always thought if I'm going to do it, I want to do it properly. And I've just always had other stuff going on. But I would like to get more into the mountain bike or just mindset coaching around athletes, and then hopefully tie that into, just say an athlete went over to Europe or America or wherever they kind of would go, and I might go with them and help them, like coach them through a weekend. So I think that would be really cool as well. But yeah, just see everyone again. See everyone. Like, I think obviously I left in an ambulance very abruptly, and I haven't seen a lot of those people since then, and it's been 2 years. So yeah, I'd like to make it back to at least a few World Cups and go see Marshy and Maurice and the old squad again, and just see everyone and catch up. And I'll probably maybe spend some time living in Bali and see what that's like, and try and set some things up there. But yeah, go see more of the world and more people that I really enjoy would probably be the biggest thing I want to do.
Wicked, mate. Well, thanks for being so honest and raw. I didn't expect anything less, mate. That was super fun, super fun to catch up. And I do hope you get back to race. It is nice to be there without the pressure of being on the start line, being on the side of the track. It's really cool, dude. And the energy's still there, and it brings back lots of memories. So I think you'll enjoy it. I do think you'll enjoy being back there.
Yeah, I think just I would definitely go full in my coach mode. I think when you see someone like a PD or a Minar, or probably you to a certain extent, we're like, how do I help this rider? How do I help with lines? Or even when you wouldn't qualify to race, and the next day you're like, what do you need? Whether it's Dylan or Brendan or whatever, like you want to help them progress. So I think I just go in that kind of mode at a race, but yeah, just no pressure and just trying to help everyone else that needs it.
Oh, wicked, mate. Thanks for everything. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that, and follow Dean as we sound off. Where do they follow you? Dean Lucas on YouTube, but the pod?
Yeah, so that's got that. And then D&M's with Dean's a podcast. I've been a bit silent on it lately, but I want to get back into it now. Or Dinos Mykonos on Instagram. So either one of those, you'll find me. I'm not doing a whole lot of mountain biking content in terms of Instagram, but on the YouTube I try and do some reviews and stuff. So I want to get a bit more into that, because I really enjoy kind of somewhat staying involved with bits and pieces.
Let's get you on one of mine. That'll be sick. I think your insights will be great, mate. All right. Well, open invitation. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Needles. Thank you.